My guest today is our Nixon in China by John Adams, Franco Pomponi.
Hello.
Franco, welcome.
Thank you.
Have you done this role before? That's my first question.
Yes, I performed it 3 seasons ago in Paris.
In Paris.
At the Châtelet Theatre in a new production by Chen Shizhang.
Mm-hmm.
And it was with June Anderson and Sumi Zhou.
June Anderson?
Yes, it was.
Oh my
it was
God.
her last. I believe it was her last opera.
Yeah, I'm thinking because I saw her many, many years
Yes.
ago as Lucia and a Norma.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And what did she play the role of?
She played Pat.
She played Pat.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it was a good production.
It was a beautiful production. It was the first time done by a Chinese director,
Mm-hmm.
and so from that point of view, it was. And my first go with the opera, so it was new for almost the entire cast, I think, at the time.
I guess my most pressing question would be, how do you learn something like that? I mean, it's not that the vocal lines are even angular or particularly difficult. It's the counting.
Yeah, the counting is
rhythmically challenging, I guess we could say.
I had seen Nixon at the I saw the original actually when I was just not even an opera singer yet.
In Houston.
Yes, I saw it on television.
Oh yeah.
And I had just sort of gotten interested in opera, and it was televised back when televised opera on
Right.
PBS,
Yeah.
which
Once upon a time,
sadly. And then it sounded so different,
Right.
from a kid who was just listening to 19th century opera pretty much, and then I saw it at the Met when they did the Sellers production.
Mm-hmm.
And John Adams was conducting,
which is a beautiful production.
Yes,
Really, that's
yes.
just gorgeous.
It's the classic.
Yeah.
And then it was either the next day or the day after that, my French agent called and said, "How would you like to sing Nixon in China?" And I was blown away by the Met,
Sure.
the people in the Met, and I said, no, because I didn't know. I mean, they were all organic with it, and many of them had done it. I mean, Madalena had created the role, and he just was the character, and
so it must have been a little daunting.
it was very daunting. He goes, "Come on, Franco, you have to. It's the title role in Paris," and I said, "Yeah, what am I thinking? I have to take it on." And then I gave myself about 3.5, 4 months, and that first day I opened the score and put on the music, and I had a panic attack.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, but it chipped away. That's part of my process. I just do a little bit every day and move along, and then big sections will start to chunk in.
Yeah.
And then the understanding sort of starts coming along, and the organic qualities,
Building the character.
Yeah. And so, and since I've done Adam's Flowering Tree, which I find even much more difficult now than
It's
Nixon.
a little smaller.
It's smaller,
but more
yeah.
challenging music.
Yeah.
That's interesting. No, it's just the counting. I don't want anybody in our audience to feel like it's atonal, which it's not, or
no, it's very cool. The news are. It's very much.
It's not difficult to listen to, is it? I mean, it's really lovely.
Oh no,
lovely
there's
music.
moments that are just haunting, and so when Mao starts singing "The world to come has come," and that pulsing, it's just it. I can't even explain it. It just takes you to another level, harmonically and also rhythmically at the same time.
Did you have the opportunity ever to sit down with John Adams or work with him?
No,
on the piece?
I just briefly ran into him in New York. He said, Franco, and he had seen the Paris, and he said, you're terrific. And,
great.
And he was doing Death of Klinghoffer at the Met when I ran into him. So we just briefly met. So it was nice to have him tell me that.
Sure,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's great. I was looking at your career, and I think you're the first.
That old.
Looking at your biography and seeing what you've sung, while you've been active, and noticed that I think you're the first baritone I've ever met who's actually sung the role of Pierrot in Die Totestadt, the Korngold piece. I mean, I think many baritones sing the aria, which is one of my favorite things in the repertoire. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. But to actually do the role, I don't think I've ever met somebody that's done it.
It is, I think, not to change subjects here, but it's the sexiest libretto. The sensuousness of that score, and the kid was only 19 when he wrote it. It was just...
It's extraordinary.
It is.
It really is.
Beautiful production in Palermo with Pizzi was a co-production. New co-production.
It's too bad that it's so big, and from the orchestral standpoint and from the production standpoint, because it's a tremendously expensive opera to do.
Is it?
I can't imagine the resources that you need for it. I mean, it was really an audacious piece for a kid.
It's a big sing. I did the double role, the Frank, and the conceit was that he comes back as the Pierrot, the friend, and it's often done that way. But the Frank part is very much more dramatic, and then the Pierrot has that beautiful.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's a great aria. But the tenor and the soprano, they have to have cojones.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other role that I think is terrific that you do is Sweeney Todd.
Yes.
And I guess that begs the question. Is it operatic from your point of view, from the singer's point of view, in terms of time on stage singing, in terms of the challenges vocally and acting-wise? Is it as challenging as some of the other roles that you have in a standard repertoire piece?
Yeah, to me, my process is the same. Doing opera or something like Sweeney Todd, and I haven't done many musicals, but I don't, especially with the American singer, but I even see it in France, because the Châtelet especially is doing a lot of American musical, and because they're such a cinematic culture, they love the classic vocal sound. They tried some of the slicker Broadway shows in Paris, and
they don't work.
But Sound of Music, My Fair Lady, Sweeney Todd, they did most of Sondheim's. They did 4 big Sondheim pieces, and they were all super successful.
In English?
In English.
Oh,
yes.
Even better.
Yeah. And Sondheim came to every one of them.
Oh, neat. That's cool.
But he said, for the first time, I have no musical notes.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I wonder if he says that to everybody, but I mean, it was, at the time, it was like, oh, wow.
No musical notes from Sondheim saying something.
They had Orchestre Paris was playing in the pit,
wow.
So it was completely, and a great production. I think they're doing it in Houston now. It's that production.
That's cool.
It's dark and bloody and beautiful. But operatic, I mean, the big aria he sings, I remember singing it. It felt like singing Iago's Credo or
Epiphany.
It's very much like Ford's monologue or Credo, and it's just that you have to do it day after day after day,
and you have to move immediately into that comic duet.
Right. It's definitely a dramatic baritone or bass baritone quality for that.
What are you looking forward to doing that you haven't done yet?
Oh my gosh, the list is long. I've been very fortunate to span a lot of different repertoire and a lot of different centuries. but I would really love to do more bel canto. I would really love to do Bellini and Donizetti, and a lot of the Verdi roles that I haven't done yet. Posa and Don Carlo,
gorgeous.
Renato and Ballo. I've done De Luna once, and Forrest.
And Germont, I saw.
Germont, I did a couple times, and what else have I done? Sorry,
that's quite
Wait
right.
for another coffee. Maybe it'll kick in.
Really. Well, so far, I understand that the music rehearsal, which was just yesterday,
Yes.
went very well.
Fantastic.
And very quickly.
Fantastic. Everybody's like so prepared. I love that.
That
I
is
love
great.
Yeah.
And I imagine with this piece doesn't always happen quite so, that every piece falls into place so easily. But I stepped in a couple of times and it just seemed like things were going really, really well.
Right.
That's terrific.
It was smooth. It was much smoother than the first time I did it in Paris when everybody was new on it. But I'll tell you, I was talking to 3 or 4 of my colleagues yesterday, and I think we all felt nervous, like that we forgot it, or it would leave us, or maybe it's not there anymore. And I think we were all pleased.
That's great.
So,
well, I'm delighted that you're here, and very much looking forward to your performances, Nixon. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate it.
You bet.